Hello and welcome to this episode of Discuss, Debate, Decide DDD, our weekly conversation with important stakeholders and people involved on issues that are very, very critical and important to Goa and Goans. We are right here in the heart of a beautiful setting in the village of Kolom near Palolem. We can hear the sound of the sea behind us, surrounded by greenery and vegetation. And this is the Goa that we always imagine and the Goa that we always enjoy. But there is an other Goa, Goa of filth, Goa of garbage, Goa of eyesores and litter on our highways, on our roads, on our beaches. And the garbage problem, quote unquote, is not just a catchword or a catchphrase. It has probably become the single biggest threat to Goa's progress and tourism. It has eaten into the very core of Goa's biggest problems, where the victims are actually the perpetrators. And I'll tell you why. And this is probably not a very comfortable thing to say. While the panchayats, the municipalities and the government has a lot to answer with regard to waste management, but the people of Goa cannot be struck off the culprits or the accused list for this very grievous crime that they commit on a day-to-day basis. There may be various reasons for it, but the justification of dumping garbage and the whole principle of NIMBY, not in my backyard, where you move out of your village and quietly dump garbage in the next village or the next big town, that continues and that continues to get into a problem. Today's discussion is going to delve deep into many of these issues, including fixing responsibility on the powers that be who need to do what they need to do, mainly the panchayats and the municipalities. But yet again, we should not lose sight of people's responsibility, and their irresponsibility has actually led to one of the biggest reasons why Goa's garbage crisis is now at its absolute peak. Before I introduce two eminent panelists, I'd just like to flag the February 19, 2026 judgment of the Supreme Court, which takes a very strong legal position on the responsibilities of different bodies and the people. I'll just read out some points from that judgment. Every panchayat, municipality and corporation must implement a 4-stream segregation: wet, dry, sanitary and special care waste. There must be no dumping and no burning. Every local body must prepare a time-bound action plan, identify bulk waste generators, submit photographic evidence and declare when will it achieve complete compliance. District collectors are mandated to audit local bodies under their jurisdiction. Court has said that non-compliance is no longer going to be an administrative lapse. Initial violations may attract fines. However, continued disregard will lead to prosecution. So this discussion is not between choosing government failure and public failure. It's about taking accountability for cumulative failure. And that is what is most important. The two panelists who are here with me are Mr. Savio Coutinho, former chairperson of the MMC, somebody who needs no introduction because he has been a crusader while he was sitting on an official chair, but continues to be a crusader as a common man on issues with regard to waste management. And my other guest is again a foot soldier, Samruddh Desai, who is the founder of Pariah, an organization that is deeply involved in collection, segregation, waste management, perhaps waste education also. And he fights this war with a team of dedicated warriors to do this. The reason why both of them will play an important part is, well, Savio has focused a lot on the urban problem. and Samrudh has focused a lot on the rural problem, though they are not mutually exclusive. Both can speak on either, but just to set the narrative. Savio, may I start with you? Currently, what is the most fundamental and critical problem with regard to urban waste, segregation, people's responsibility and MMC responsibility, or any urban body responsibility?
It would be quite bad for me to say, but it's the real fact that the main problem is that our government or whoever is at the helm of affairs thinks that waste management is a hen that lays golden eggs. This is the crucial problem that we see. And each one wants to see how they can make a fast buck on that. And only tenders we see. In reality, how effective the works that are executed through the tenders, it can be seen all across Goa. So this is the main problem. Because see, if you remember, way back in 2014, I was not even the councillor at that time. I was just a member on the solid waste management cell. We had commenced door-to-door waste collection in Margao by engaging self-help groups. We had asked people to get themselves in the form of self-help groups, and we had started this door-to-door waste collection, mixed waste, no doubt. And municipality was not paying them. They were paid by the households directly, 1 rupee per day, 30 rupees they were getting. So the more number of houses they covered, the more income they would get. So this was how we had started it. Thereafter they saw it quite lucrative. Why not introduce a tender system? And they brought tender system by doing away with this thing. Now crores of rupees is spent on these tenders for Margao and Patroda constituency. And actually, if you see the worker, the worker who is collecting the waste, he is getting only 10,000, whereas municipality pays per head 21,000. And even the supervisor is from that same contractor. Actually, supervisor at least should have been somebody different, so that proper monitoring could be done. Even that is not happening. Why the workers are managing with 10,000 is because they get some recyclables. So the contractor gives them the freedom to sell off the recycles. There they earn some 3,000-4,000. So this is how the things go. So where does this 15,000, some 11,000 go? It's a big question mark. So there these problems. And finally, even when there are lapses on the part of the contractor, because sometimes what happens, they give them double area for collection. If somebody doesn't come, they'll give a bill for a more number of workers, whereas the actual workers that are engaged are lesser. We had even exposed one time. We had even filed police complaint. Contracts were cancelled. All that stuff we have done. So here, because everybody is part of this scheme, nobody pulls them up for the lapses, and then this continues.
But ultimately, this is supposed to be a system in place. You highlighted a very practical, and I would even use the word corruption. Let's use that word here. But the larger problem is that ultimately the work is not getting done. For instance, we do not know how much of segregation is happening. I have severe doubts whether proper segregation is happening. Secondly, we do not know what is really happening with the wet waste, because as far as Sonsodo is concerned, to the best of my knowledge, the idea is I don't think waste is getting treated there.
No.
Okay, so
it's sent to Kakora.
Correct, it's sent to Kakora.
Yeah, I'm talking about Margao.
Margao, correct. Exactly. Yeah. So what I wanted to know is, what I wanted to really understand is that Margao, of course, is supposed to be a city of the educated.
Sure.
Do we still have responsible public behavior in Margao, or that is left to be desired?
See, the thing is, if you know, even in other cities, the cities which have succeeded in waste management, they always involve locals.
Right.
But somehow in Margao, or probably Goa maybe, in Panchayats, even we have seen locals were involved, and their success stories were much in front of us.
Right.
But in Margao, somehow they are averse to involving citizens. Because unless you involve citizens in whatever is being done, you cannot achieve success, because finally through the citizens you can send messages across to the public, right?
Correct.
But here they don't want to involve citizens, because all these other things are there as far as standards are concerned. You may remember earlier when Fomento was at Sonsoda, segregation, of course, it was through machines was being done, and some segregated waste was in the shed. It was lying there for months together. and there was no, it was totally choked. And that time we had given them an offer that we are ready to help you all out,
Right.
because that was as good as compost.
Right.
Understood? Little more segregation screening was required, and we told them, chalo, we'll screen that and give it to the taxpayers as an incentive for paying tax on time. Somehow they were not agreeable to that idea. They spent 95 lakhs on a contractor to dispose of that waste. And what did they do? They screened it further and dumped it near the district court. And when their own test reports came, we found that waste was consisting of 6 times higher mercury level, permissible levels of mercury. So this type of, even when burning, the 4th Supreme Court directions, what you said, segregation, all that, and you should not burn or bury. Today in Margao, when you see smoke, who is responsible? Don't we see our own sweepers sweeping and setting the waste to fire?
Correct.
So when the municipality itself, they notify certain things. Now this was the notice that was published,
Okay.
that people should not burn and all this, the same things what you have read just now.
Yes.
Yeah,
Correct.
and they themselves are doing this, burning of waste and all. Burying also, we even caught them on camera through the Manavika school, where we showed how diapers and sanitary waste was put inside and buried
Right.
with mud.
Right. Okay, I'll just bring Samrud into this conversation. Samrud, of course, you have local experience which you're getting almost every day. There are a lot of learnings happening. The broad problem, I'll just go to the broad problem. The broad problem is what I mentioned right in the beginning, and just said, irrespective of whatever is happening, you will still see Goa, whole of Goa as a garbage dump, or at least large parts of Goa as a garbage dump. So where exactly is the gap between the work that some of you good Samaritans are doing and ultimately what is seen on the road? Where, this gap needs to be addressed as to why there is so much of garbage on the road. Because at the end of the day, let's ask simple questions, because simple questions have far deeper answers.
Okay, let me say I work mostly in the villages part, so I won't be able to comment on what's happening in municipal areas. So my experience has been primarily with few panchayats which I work with. And we are a part of association. So what we did is, when we started working in this field, we realized that this industry is largely unorganized. So people are the key component, the grassroots worker. As Mr. Savio mentioned, he's not nowhere in the picture in terms of getting the benefits that he deserves. So mostly he's a migrant. So we have to admit that fact, that he is not a Goan. For example, mostly 90%, very few remote villages like Kankona, Sattari Taluka, you will find a local worker engaged in waste management. But when it comes to most semi-urban kind of panchayats, the grassroots worker is the migrant. So we, as a part of association, we looked at that aspect of, and then we to look at this gap of garbage dumping. Now I'll only address the concern of what we see on the streets. So we identified 10 such vulnerable spots, which are called black spots in different states, and we tried to analyze what is it that is coming on the road. And largely it was a combination of wet waste, because of mixed waste, and the reasons we'll get into as we discuss further. Secondly was the the diaper sanitary waste, because of again there are multiple reasons why people are not able to give diapers, and then we'll address what of this. And then the low value clothes, leather, which is not collected by panchayats. So when we analyzed a bit of it, we realized that wherever may be the dump, which it may come in the jurisdiction of city or village, you can't pinpoint that it is because it is happening in municipal area, it's the local residents who are dumping it. It could be the site residents, migrant, tourists, whoever may be dumping it. And when we analyze the components of what is coming on the road, we realize mostly the items which are not having any value to anybody. Okay, so you won't see, although you might say a lot of plastic bottles, the volume is very, very little. When we analyzed, out of 100%, only 4% were recyclable value. So only few people would throw PET bottle or aluminium can, because they know the value. Like we store our newspapers at home, because we ultimately at the end of the month we get 6 rupees per kilo and we still store it at home.
Right.
but you won't see PET bottles or glass bottles on the road. You would see them definitely, but the picture that is created that all glass bottles come on the road, all PET bottles come on, is completely misleading. What you see on the road is mostly sanitary waste. So now why sanitary waste people dump it on the road is primarily because right now the value which is set for dumping sanitary waste is very, very high. Okay, so currently if an individual wants to deposit sanitary waste, it is costing 18 rupees per kilo for me to dispose.
I see.
Okay, but Goa fortunately is one of the very few states which has a biomedical facility. So as far as infrastructure is concerned, I believe as a state we are much ahead than some of the other states. So now nobody can afford, if I am buying a diaper, a middle class family are buying a diaper at X cost, to dispose it if I have to pay 18 rupees,
Right.
then I don't think people would be willing to pay. So for that government has taken a step that they are going to make it free from July, which is now slowly taking shape. So one reason of dumping sanitary, the second is old clothes, leather shoes and low value plastic. They don't have any value for anybody. The reason we find is because although many panchayats have dry waste collection, most panchayats are still not collecting wet waste. So people don't find a solution for that. As Mr. Savio rightly pointed, nobody wants to create a garbage dump intentionally, but they don't know what to do with it. So that is one reason why you see a lot of material coming on road. This could be one reason. Second could be the timings of collection. So second is probably the timing of collection. When you so in any city, collection could be done probably only at one point of time. So a garbage collector will go at 7 to 8, and not everybody wants that suitable timing. So we need to be more acceptable as how we can address this issue of providing collection to residents or create a centralized deposit center. There are some good steps which have been taken. I'm completely neutral in saying this, that Goa Waste Management Corporation has set up a waste deposit center on one of such black spots where the results are very good. So people, when they see an option that okay, now I need not dump, I can deposit at one place, the results have been good. So I see multiple reasons for this gap. One is we should streamline 100% collection. So how to ensure that we can probably discuss, but if we have 100% collection in every panchayat, it cannot be like Margao has a 100% collection, but the neighboring panchayat Raya or Kurturi or Naveli or Akebais does not have a collection. Then you are not looking at a composite picture.
Savio, couple of interesting points that Samruddh has made. One thing I would like to flag here is, how do you kind of achieve this 100% collection? Is it not happening because the bodies, be it urban or rural bodies, are not like enforcing it, or is it because the people themselves are not cooperating?
See, basically, when now in Margao, it's 100% door-to-door waste collection. But as Mr. Desai has pointed out, there has to be a proper time frame. Here, what happens, as I told you earlier, they engage less number of workers. They give them larger areas. So after one area is completed, they have to go to the other area. They are given little extra money.
So I think it is a manpower issue.
Yeah,
also.
so it goes up to even 11, 12 also.
Right.
And that is one problem. Secondly, many rented premises are there where people go to work. Right. And so when the waste collector comes there, their doors are locked. Right. So at night time, whenever they come back, they do the cooking, everything is done. That is the time whatever waste is generated, they come out and they finally tend to dump it somewhere or the other. So this is one issue. Now when we are doing this for last so many years, we should have data first of all such premises. You won't believe Margao has absolutely no data at all.
No data at all?
No, you ask them households, even others. Now I tend to ask on and off, like through RTI, different issues like. We ask them how many cinema halls are there, or how many wedding halls are there. Understood, no? How restaurants, how many are there? They don't have proper data. Because first of all, many of these premises, even business establishments, they are running without trade licenses. Neither the municipality is concerned that they should come on this thing like that, until and unless some other department raids them or something like that. Till that time, they don't feel that there should be a license. So all this, unless you have a data, you cannot tap them properly and achieve the desired results. This is one thing. Secondly, when this waste is being collected by these workers, like many a times, like sometimes in societies, there are few, there are problems, no doubt. Some societies, they don't allow the waste collector to come inside the building. Yeah, it is a fact, no doubt, because sometimes they go with the bag to collect wet waste, and with the bag in the which is porous sort of, they mess up the lift or the staircase. So that is the reason some societies don't allow them, and they try to make their own arrangements for collecting at the gate or something, where the people have, or their own society sweeper or somebody has to collect and receive. So those are some problems that they face. Yeah, but by and large, whenever if we are doing this door-to-door waste collection for so many years, by now we should have been having a plan of action, like how all these problems can be tackled, which somehow is eluding the council and the authorities, basically.
I'll come to the larger question. This is for both of you. Can start at this side. See, ultimately, we have to address the issue of public responsibility in this entire situation. As you flagged the issue of society is not allowing the person to come through. Now, the thing is, as part of the entire plan for waste management across all panchayats, a lot of money has been spent, a lot of equipment has been bought. We all know that there is equipment lying all over the place, unused. All of that be the case. But how much of time and effort, and I'm not saying the government is to be blamed for it, but has the government kind of used both the carrot and the stick principle to ensure that public participation in this is absolute paramount? Because the point is, what we see is a systematic collapse of public sensitivity to a situation like this. And this public irresponsibility is playing out. Yes, we do know the large number of tourists come, and I'll get into the tourism part in the next segment. But the point is, there is a lot of irresponsible behavior happening amongst Goans themselves, or people who live in Goa. There are crusaders in different villages who are trying their best. I mean, they go, they try and educate, they sometimes fire them, as it were, they scold them, they tell them. But all of this is not met with in a positive way. And that has led to a lot of even skirmishes and so on and so forth. We recently had this very sad incident in Mapsa. Well, the suicide committed by the youth was mainly due to police harassment rather than anything else. But we saw, and very unfortunately, the big backlash against the person who had actually stopped him and threatened him. Maybe he has to answer for some of his actions or may not. But the larger issue is, of course, the suicide made the entire thing come out in a big way. But the fact remains that, okay, that boy may or may not have been innocent. Maybe he was just dumping a carpet box. We are not getting so much into that because there are other issues associated with it. But the fact remains that there are so many people who actually go and display irresponsible behavior. Starting with you, Samrudh, we have, of course, offered enough carrots. What is the stick method that is needed? Or do you agree that we have run out of carrots and the stick method is needed, both in terms of fining and also in terms of actual prosecution? Because the Waste Management Act does not account for all this. Because Section 8 obviously touches only upon fines. It doesn't touch upon prosecution.
So I don't know what you mean by carrots or what are so far offered here.
Yes. By carrots, I mean gentle persuasion. It means putting out a whole system of education, okay, making them sensitive, holding, say, workshops or seminars or public meetings. So that is the gentle educative approach. The stick approach would be to impose heavy fines and repeated offenders actually get prosecuted. So this is the difference between the carrot and the stick.
How I see that is, my observation over the last 8-10 years of this being in this field is there's too much money which has flown into education about awareness sessions and you'll see.
You hit the nail on the head, actually.
Yeah,
yes,
it's lot of you'll get painting competitions and wall painting competitions and all, and the same wall being again dirtied and again repainted, and too much has gone into that. That now the time has come for. So I look at it primarily from how I see things is we have been following a top-down approach in waste management all this while. Everything comes from a place on top, and this is what is right. Like for example, we are this. If you ask me in today's scenario, the grassroots worker and the waste management contractors, in whatever they are functioning, whether some are operating ethically, illegally, immorally, but ultimately they are the ones doing collection. You might blame illegal scrapyards, illegal, garbage dumps if set up in the fields. Imagine if they were not there, then even that collection would not have been happening. Nowhere in the picture of the discussion of policy making are those considered as to what is the problem that is being addressed, what is the issue that, like you are asking me, what is that requires. So I think when you are talking about education is not always about consumers. Education is also to these people, because one of the key person is the collector. And what I have seen is mostly wherever the officer is good or the panchayat body is good, there are good results. So we
saw that in Panchayat.
Yes, it's not a systemic thing. Unfortunately, in India, it is largely dependent on who is in charge. So I have been involved with such panchayats where the sarpanches and secretaries are very, very aggressive about waste. So give me an example of Chikolna, Bogmalo and Tivre Orgaon.
Right.
The sarpanch.
Chikola, Bogmalo and Tivre Orgaon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to name them because I've been involved with them. I've seen
Can you tell us what they are doing which is good?
One thing is constant focus. Okay, it's not that they have given a contract to somebody and he is supposed to do the job. That's a general principle which is followed by okay, he's got the contract, why is not done, and fine him or take corrective action. That's it, that's about it. But why is he facing the issue? So if I have a grouse about something being my worker is facing, despite repeated instructions, my worker is not getting the cooperation from one particular house about mixed waste, there would be action from the panchayat. Whether now you can talk about stick and carrot, okay, but now I know the target segment, okay, this is the establishment, this is the society which is not cooperating with me. It is not generic. Waste management, it cannot be looked at anymore from a very broad microscopic window that all Kankona is wrong. Okay, it has to be now broken down into, in Kankona, one particular ward we are having an issue. That's why I am naming this panchayat. Right. Because if you paintbrush everybody in same random that Goa is not doing well, it would be unfair to these panchayats who are extremely proactive in
yes,
this. So
correct.
that's why when I name these panchayats, they would be very, if a single complaint from a contractor, if it goes to the sarpanch, right, next day you would get a fine letter to that establishment. Right. Yes, there would be issues. If there is a local, they would try to tell him don't do it. But on a larger scale, if you average it out, there would be action taken against some action, whether it is educating, whether it is not no more generic. And that is what I like. Working in this field, I've realized there is enough of. It's not that people don't know. People by now are aware of everything.
But the sad part is that these examples like Chikolna or Bogbalo are actually exceptions. They should be the rule.
Yes. That's the point which I am trying to make, and I'm sure there are more panchayats which are. See, I haven't had a very negative experience. Maybe it's because what approach you look at, but I see a lot of positivity as things are improving. Maybe the panchayats I'm involved are thing, but
I'll just come back to you. Savio, what is your on the carrot and stick?
Carrying on with whatever the carrot and stick. I would suggest why the carrot and stick should not apply to the government itself.
It should definitely. I'm coming to the government part after this. Let us finish the people part, then I'll come.
See, if here we see the government or the local bodies are interested only in one clause in all the rules that come in force. Right. That is how much fees should be charged. Right. Understood? No? And these fees, at least in Margao we have seen, who is paying? Only the loyal taxpayers, the assessed premises. Right. There are 40% of unassessed premises, unassessed business establishments, right, who are not on the record of the council. So they are neither paying house tax nor they are paying sanitation fees. That's right. So whenever there is a shortfall in money, the same people are targeted. Okay, right. So that is one part as far as the fees are concerned. Secondly, if the courts or some authority is there to ensure that the rules are implemented by the local bodies, we could say results. They may punish the offenders, no doubt, but at least they are responsible. Now, whatever exceptions as the Panchayat Chiknala and all, why it's happening? Because they are doing their work with good responsibility basically, and that's why we see results there. The same thing can be ensured even in other places, which is not happening. So I would suggest that the carrot and stick should be the reverse.
No, 100%,
on the
100%. Carrot and
right.
stick should definitely be on them.
A
Yeah.
point
Sure,
while
sure,
this
sure.
is one thing now while we were speaking, what I realize is it's also the quality of punch members that we elect. If the more educated they are, the better the results. Is in this panchayats which you have named. I'm not talking about education in terms of literacy.
Yeah, you
the
don't
mo-
want
yeah, good intention people. If they are there, then the results are good. So in both these panchayats, one thing which I want to clearly analyze thing is because they are educated, they want good for their village at a larger goal. I'm ignoring all the bureaucratic issues that come with it, but education and a good intentioned body is extremely important.
See, now Mr. Desai mentioned, you give a tender and it's over. Nobody goes to check whether they are performing their duties as per the agreement or not. Nobody checks on that. Now the recent plant that is set up at Sansado, gas 10 tons per day gasification plant.
Yes.
Understood? The title actually shows that maybe some gas is being produced there, but there, of course gas is produced, synthesis gas, which is used for the internal energy systems of the plant. That is one point.
Yes.
And what they say is that if 10 tons is treated there, is sort of it's an incinerator as good as that. 0.5% is the residual fly ash. So around 500 kgs it should be.
Right.
Understood? From the day it was commissioned till today, it is 78 days today. So per day, if 10 tons means 500 kgs of fly ash was produced, today there should have been 55,000 of kgs of fly ash. You can hardly see 1,000 kgs there. So finally, you come to know that the plant is not run as per the capacity. The dry waste is also accumulated there.
Savio, I'll once again come back to the government's failures and the panchayat's failures, and I'll come back to it in 2 minutes. But I'd just like to draw both of your attention back to the whole thing of let's say that the government is responsible. I'm again going back to the people's thing for a bit and saying that what about the irresponsible person who is dumping on the road? What about the person who takes it on his scooter in the middle of the night and just chucks it? This thing continues to happen. Can't we have a system where the deterrent needs to be a little stronger so that fines and prosecution becomes part of the system? Or do you feel that most of the local bodies don't want to do it because they don't want to antagonize locals, they have to live in this same society? Politicians don't want to crack down because ultimately they are voters. Are these the reasons that are ensuring that offenders are treated with soft gloves?
Deterrent is required, no doubt. But at the same time, there should be options also. Now, mostly in cities, the major complaint is that the neighboring villages, they come and dump the waste, and which could be substantially true. Right. And it's not that 100% villagers only come, even locals from the city dump there. But what we had suggested that time, we had suggested that at all entry points along the city, and not only in Margao, even in other cities also, we have manned stations where we tell the people, Baba, you don't dump anywhere, you come with your waste in a segregated form, we will accept it.
So you are suggesting a very important point that you have a manned system at the entrance of all the cities.
Exactly.
If people come in, you tell them not to dump,
Correct.
hand it over, but in a segregated manner.
In a segregated manner. Right. If you want, you can charge them also nominal fees such. And once you have these options, and in spite of that people dump, then you have to take action against them.
Right. Including prosecution, yes.
In villages, some villages collect only dry waste.
Right.
Once in 15 days.
Right.
Wet waste is not touched at all.
Now,
right. In earlier times, now in villages, remote villages, small houses only are there, where the wet waste is used as manure for their plants.
Right.
But now, all the villages have got multi-dwelling units, buildings and all, flat system, wherein they cannot dispose their wet waste. Right. So finally, it has to land somewhere or the other, since the panchayat local body is not.
What Savio is also saying that the rural character of our villages is also changing. in the sense that, you know, villages also have multi-dwelling units. They have a different class of people moving in. And then we have massive mega projects coming in. I mean, our 39A has ensured that there is going to be a bomb of a garbage problem happening. It's already started happening. These kind of conversions and the urbanization has led to this. So we also know that these are the different challenges. What are your points on what Savio just said?
See, the multi-dwelling units, already there are laws in place. So there is a solid waste management rule 2006, and there are municipal bylaws, there are panchayat bylaws which mandate, as per panchayat bylaws, any unit, any institute that generates more than 25 kg of total waste has to have their own composting station or own mechanism of dealing with that waste.
Right.
So I have some skepticism about this manned thing at the borderlines. It might have worked in the previous stages when the waste was less. The moment you allow that, probably it would leave the onus from the panchayat body. Okay, you want to make panchayats responsible for their waste management. It's not about one city. It's not just about Margao or Panjim or this. The moment you know, I have a system which is parallel to what is meant by law. What is meant by law is panchayat should set up decentralized facilities. Okay, they should have any bulk. One of the rules identifying bulk waste generator. So multi-dwelling units come under bulk waste generator. They should have their own setup. The moment that is there, so that is the one system. The moment you tell them, okay, now you are giving your parallel option. Okay, if you want to dump, give it segregated at my entrance of the city, then you are creating two parallel options. So how we look at it, things from purely from management perspective of waste is, you should, for all other things we are asking powers from the panchayat. We want powers to the panchayat. Then why not in waste management? So here panchayats somehow are absolving their responsibility by saying they don't want waste plants in their premises, their jurisdiction. They want waste to be shifted from their panchayat to Margao or Kakoda or Saligaon.
Right.
So the idea is to make panchayats self-sustainable. Then only this major issue of whatever we are discussing will get resolved.
That's also an important point. So yes, sir, please respond. Yes.
Now the present rules, the bulk waste generators is changed in the sense 20,000 square meters.
That
40,000 liters per day consumption water or 100 kgs.
That is now that confusion even I have, because this is the solid waste management 2026,
Right.
and you'll be able to probably know better. There is a municipal bylaws and panchayat bylaws which are already highlighted by the state government. Now what is more prevalent? That's something.
There's a conflict between municipal bylaws and
the new solid waste
Right.
with respect to definition of bulk waste generation.
Now
Yeah.
they say 100 kgs.
No, see, even in the previous solid waste management rules 2016, bulk waste generator was always 100 kg, but bylaws came after that. The bylaws of Goa state.
Since people will be hearing this,
Yes.
just to ensure that
Yes.
they understand what we are
Yes.
talking about, when you say bulk waste generators 100 kgs, what do you mean?
100 kgs waste generated per day in that property.
There is 100 kgs waste generated per day, that property has to, or that
is
society,
classified as a bulk waste generator.
and then,
Or other criteria, the water consumption is 40,000 liters per day.
and then what happens? Are they given a particular machine? Do they have to?
No. They have to set up their this thing. They have to take care of their own waste.
As soon as you go up to a size, there are certain classifications. Like for example, as per Goa State Pollution Control Board, if you are 25 units and above residential colony, you should have a STP. Like that, when solid waste management rules 2016 came about, they identified something called bulk waste generator, which was defined anybody who has 5,000 square meter area or 100 kilos of waste daily generated, they were classified as a bulk. So for us the reference point is only 100 kg. Let's look at the other aspects. We are not looking at liquid waste and other aspects. So anybody who generates 100 kg of waste, so let's say a resort in Goa develops 100 kg of waste, he is classified as a bulk waste generator. Now what was specified in those rules was he should have his own system of wet waste management. Government can say no to his pickup. They'll say I will not pick up. Now in solid waste management rules 2026, they have altered this bulk waste generator definition, where they have said the 100 kg figure is same, 100 kg figure of waste is same, but the area has gone to 20,000 square meters and wastewater consumption has gone to 20,000 liters, 40,000 liters, but waste characteristics have remained same. Now 100 kg in Goa, probably every resort will have 100 kg generation.
Right.
Now are they following the bulk waste generator norms, or they are still giving through panchayat? So,
Essentially saying that these rules,
now this rule,
the solid waste management rules gives more leeway to the bulk waste generators not to treat the waste.
no, so this is
In
a
that
definition.
month,
Okay,
right.
this is a definition. But in between, there were panchayat bylaws which were notified by the state government.
Right.
In that, bulk waste generator was defined as anybody who generates 25 kg.
Right.
So now that is the part which is left in confusion, which we need to clarify, which I am at this stage I am not able to give you clarity about which rule to follow. Whether the central government solid
Very
waste
important point.
solid
There are two
waste-
conflicting rules. Yes, sir.
Another problem in villages, even cities, no doubt. Cities, of course, we are taking the waste, wet waste, the chicken waste, animal waste, basically.
Right, right.
There are now one chicken vendor or may be producing at least 50 kg minimum.
Yes.
So what he does with it in the village? Nothing. He'll just fill it up and dump it somewhere
Right.
in a sack like that, and that is a bigger problem. So this type of waste also, there has to be some mechanism where to handle it like that.
Okay, I'll just go to the next section. See, connected to this is what we've been kind of touching upon, in the sense that panchayats and other bodies are kind of shying away or shirking responsibilities, because of which a lot of waste is going outside the jurisdiction area. Now I'll just flag the Kakora story, which all of you all obviously know, because Kakora was supposed to cater to Kepe, Kankon, Sangay and Darbandura. It is right now receiving 35 tons of waste from Margao. It is apparently, correct me if I am wrong, as you were mentioning, that Betalbati, Davorli, these panchayats are also sending to Kakora. Now you have one Kakora. Ultimately, rather than going in for decentralization, we are just ensuring that we are doing the opposite of decentralization and sending people. So we are doing to waste management exactly what we are doing to health. Like every patient goes to GMC, every garbage is sent to a centralized place, not to a decentralized place. Your comments on this, and then someone.
Margao initiated the process of decentralization by setting up a biomethanation plant at SGPD.
Yes.
Nearly 3 crores gone to waste. Within a year's time, it is scrapped.
Correct.
Understand? Means, yeah. So we don't have sort of long-term this thing now, vision, like sort of what are we actually doing. Everything comes as a pilot project, and finally it's abandoned, something like. So now even this gasification plant is the first in Goa, and supposed to be a pilot.
I have one more point to make, and you all can dwell on that. Whenever these kind of plants, like in say Kakoda or even Saligaon and other places are done, do you agree that their capacities are deliberately or otherwise kept higher, while the jurisdiction is kept more restricted, allowing for other jurisdictions to come in through the back door? And that has been the bad experience that has happened, A, with Saligaon, and B, to Kakora. That is just a point of view. You all can agree or disagree and tell us. Savio, you first and then someone.
It is true, basically, because what happens, they leave scope so that other waste can be accepted, because finally the plant has to run. So that sort of thing they have to show, like, no? Because if the plant doesn't run, it's a sort of a white elephant. So from wherever the waste is available, it has to pick up and treated. So it solves a problem of one city or maybe 4 or 5 villages like that. And when this decentralized plants, whichever you set up, when they fail, like, no, that is the time people don't accept any plant in their vicinity. You might have seen that any proposal of the government to set up a plant is always stiff resistance.
Samru, do you agree that this happens?
Overstretching the capacity of bigger plants. See, we have had only 2 plants in Goa, so I won't be able to comment.
No, but the question that I'm raising here is that those 2 plants were not initially kind of augmented for, or they were not set up to cater to the whole of Goa or whole of North Goa or South Goa. They were meant to cater to a particular area. But when you have bigger capacities, obviously there's more money involved in the entire situation. So
where did they have the data for those areas that you have mentioned, that so much of waste is being produced?
That's a question. Yeah.
See, one thing is what you are saying is whether the capacities are over.
See, what I meant is that are these plants used as money making exercises by having huge capacities, having bigger machines, and then you said it caters only to a smaller area, but ultimately the bigger plan is to get garbage moving in from different areas so that the NIMBY principle works, so that panchayats say not in my backyard, is going there. It is basically to take away the responsibility from the grassroots and move it to one centralized.
I don't know whether it is happening by choice. It's happening for sure.
Right.
I'm not sure so much that it is happening by consciously.
Right.
My experience is, see, this field is evolving so much that when we say we don't have data, who doesn't have data and whose responsibility is to give data? So here you are looking at pinpointing to someone, then it is becoming very difficult to answer, because I, for being one, despite knowing in my panchayats, where I work in 7-8 panchayats, it's very, very difficult to accumulate data, and we are trying, like we are doing experiments, we are trying to get data. So I am not so sure that by design or by choice they are, because I have seen both the plants, and as of now they are running full capacity. So whether it was initially over emphasized or no, I won't be able to answer that question. But whether it is encouraging centralization, currently you are forced to do it. My realistic view is you are forced to do it because you have a plant which is 100. Not all panchayats are able to collect wet waste for multiple reasons. So you need to get down into, let's say you mentioned Kakoda for these 4 talukas of Kepe, Sanget. Let's take example Kankona taluka. Kankona, there are around 7-8 panchayats. Okay, none of the panchayats are yet collecting wet waste. So what do? Do you keep that plant capacity idle? Now, let's say
shouldn't the question be, shouldn't the right question be that why are the panchayats not collecting wet waste, rather than ask why it is going there? So I come back to, see, all are interlinked. They are not isolated questions or issues. The idea here is that the big question is that why are panchayats not doing it? Are they doing it because, are they not doing it because they think that there is some alternative that we can look at? Because ultimately, they probably think it can be sent to Kakora or Salingaon. That could be one.
They are not collecting wet waste.
Yeah, but see, they are not collecting because they don't know what to do with it. Number one, okay. So number one, why are they not collecting it?
That is the question.
The bigger question is, even with regard to dry waste, how well are they handling it? Are they sending it properly to different areas? What is the recycling thing? So if both of you can dwell upon what are the local bodies not doing that they should. Savio, you speak first on the day.
Just add one more thing. See, now just like Mr. Desai, and there are very few goans into this waste management, and they are showing results actually. What is the government doing to help them expand their activities?
Yeah, you see, Clinton Vaz is doing, Samrud is doing, there are others like
what
this.
What is the government doing to support them? They are not doing anything. This is my direct charge, because I have seen in Margao Municipal Council, the dry waste was being sent to Clinton Vaz for treatment. He was given the shed so that he could also operate from that same shed. He was not charging 1 rupee from this thing, whereas we have appointed, Margao Municipal Council has appointed a contractor to do the baling of the dry waste, and he is doing it free of cost. And major portion of the dry waste is going to him.
The Gaon Bachao Court in Shandur, they are kind of almost single-handedly doing it, spending their own money and trying to do it without any help from the government.
Exactly. Isn't it government responsibility to help them, assist them to expand and give them larger area, give them support also? Only then we can expect this thing. Now here you are, as I said right from the first sentence of mine, they are looking at waste management as a hen that lays golden eggs. Understood? No? So they want to give tenders to outsiders.
Let me ask you a pinpointed question. In all the 10 years of working, what is the help that you've actually got from the government, including financial help?
So financial help, basically it's a self-sustained business. So I don't look for that.
So I can speak for myself. You're honest. You see, you're a decent man, so you're giving a decent answer.
No.
But the right answer is zero.
But see, what I'm saying is, I have never approached for funds.
So that is okay. It's not about, see, people like you will not approach. But the idea is for the government to understand what you are doing and also.
What I'm trying to say is, I'm not trying to be diplomatic or whatever. What I don't know, I don't know. So I am not sure if they must be providing, because there are startups. I know, because I'm skeptical, because one of our members, of the association members, has got enlisted in the startup of scheme of Goa, and he's got funding of a certain amount. So the business part of it is everybody's.
Let me reframe the question. In the last 10 years that you've been working, like you, Clinton, how many times has the government at any level, either the local level or the district level or whatever, actually called you saying that, look, we need to plan ahead, figure out the way the waste management needs to be conducted only in maybe your areas, give us inputs, let us create a roadmap, let us figure out what you all need and other people need. How many such good experiences have you had in the last, say, 10 years that you've been working?
Those are very minimal. That's what I'm.
No,
that's
can we get down to how many?
Every year, maybe once for some meeting at we are called.
But is it a chai samosa meeting, or is there any concrete thing that happens?
See, what happens is all this while the sector itself was disorganized. So you would had a Clinton working in Margao. So Clinton probably would be on all the state level committees, right, because of his
No, fair enough. But one Clinton was who is doing amazing work cannot be just one representative speaking, because you need the people from all over Goa.
I'm coming to that.
Yeah,
so
sure.
now that's why we have come together, right, people who are like-minded, who have offices in Goa, who are trying to streamline the process, or like security for our workers, ESI, PF, taking care of their insurance, etc.
Okay, so when you say we, it means who?
Means how? So let me brief you about our association. So what happened in during Corona times is, in COVID times there was a strange thing that evolved. We all thought people would get suddenly, this realization that okay, because of waste, suddenly now these issues are happening. A virus like this is coming. And we are hoping the waste would go down. Just contrary to our expectations, the waste
went up, of course.
Went up.
Yes, it's very cool.
Here I would like to mention also that I mentioned to you before our studio, you got doctors felicitated, you got nurses, police inspectors, all got felicitated during that Corona period. Right. If there were no sanitation workers during that time, you can imagine the state of our health. And they were the most vulnerable to prone, because people would throw sanitary pads, the masks, etc., and which we had to collect, and we had to take all the risk. When I say we, because we were employing them, and they were most vulnerable. But that is the time we realized that this cannot go on like randomly. So we came together, we had an online discussion, few of us, and we decided to form something called Waste Management Association of Goa. And
but it was a private enterprise.
It's a private entity. It's a private. We have come together.
Yes,
we have come together.
Yes.
Post that, which is we have been getting frequent inputs, but still, as you say, a lot more like when a policy decision has to be made, we want our views to be considered. We don't want businesses just out of being in there. Business should go on merit, but we would be able to give you the grassroots picture more than anybody sitting on top. Right. So that's why our constant effort has been government recommendations involve us in the decision making. You have other tendering process which is completely government neutral, keep it. But involve us in the policy making, involve us in what needs, what is the roadmap future. That's what.
See, Savio, this whole concept of quote unquote policy decisions itself seems a little funny, if I may use that word, because on one hand you talk of policy decisions, but right here we discussed a policy decision where there's a contradiction in the rules framed by the panchayat bodies and the social waste management rules. I'll just complete this and then over to you. The fundamental point that I'm trying to make here is that this is not seen as a subject worth planning or looking forward to, bringing in stakeholders. This is actually as critical as planning your environment. It is as critical as planning your roads. It is as critical as planning the carrying capacity of every village. Why is the government, or I'm not even talking of this government, why have successive governments not taken it as a part of an overall planning issue?
See, when we come about tendering system, now tenders are designed in such a manner that they cannot even think of buying the tender form, because the conditions are such that they don't fit anywhere.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, they first of all they club all the entire area into one, make it worth crores of rupees. Then they put a condition that they should have a turnover of so many crores, which it is impossible for them to have or go on this thing. So and then finally they are out. Then the person whom they intend to finally comes with a dummy also, and takes the tender. This is the actual
And tender to do what? To do
waste management, waste collection, whatever it is. Understood? So if the entire city of Margao, which we had also suggested, is split into 4 or 5 sectors, and then a tender can be issued, and accordingly you can also check out which of the group is performing better. Understood? In the next tender, probably the other area also that person can be given. There is some competition. Here there is monopoly. Only one person is given the free hand. You do or you don't do, but take your money at the end of the month. This is what is happening.
just one small section, and then we'll wrap up. Now let us look into the tourism aspect and the waste that tourism generates. I'm not really talking of the big 5-star resorts and others, but I'm also talking of other hotels, restaurants, shacks, and all of that. And now when shack licenses are also given, there may be some kind of a waste management criteria involved in this, we don't know. But obviously Goa being a tourist state, or it was a tourist state, is slowly declining right now for various reasons. But can we just look into this whole aspect of waste management, especially in the coastal belt and the tourist belt, and what are the challenges that you feel that are happening right now?
Coastal belt, majority you will find bulk waste generators if you consider the quantum of waste is concerned. So they have got, they appoint certain people to lift their waste. What they do out of that thereafter, nobody knows. They will either put it in some bags and dump it in the nearest city or like that. So this has to be monitored by the Waste Management Corporation, identify them, so that the waste, whatever is collected, is finally treated scientifically instead of being dumped in a mixed form here and there. This has to be taken care of, because finally, if we are talking about tourism, where tourists have to come, they would naturally look out for some clean places. And when we see coastal areas messed up with all waste at every nook and corner, it's not very attractive for tourists like that.
A quick response to that, and then a quick response to that, and then I'll finish with the larger political narrative, and then we'll conclude this.
No, my opinion that is, see, with the new Supreme Court guidelines which you referred, February 19, is taking care of all of this. There is no separate leeway given for any other bulk waste generator, etc. So if you just implement now, to look at it from the brighter side, we collectorates already have had meetings where they have had secretaries responsible for all this identifying bulk waste generators. As Mr. Savio pointed out, there has been no identification so far. Who is a bulk waste generator? So hotels also have a tendency to undershow their waste. If they have 100 kg, it's very difficult to say every day they will generate 100. So they will calculate, say I am reaching a figure of 80, then they don't classify under bulk waste generator. Then what? But it's in the panchayat's jurisdiction to classify them, whether they are a bulk waste generator or no. Whether they are, so they have the rules have also given them leeway if they, because of space shortage or anything, because there are some hotels which have been established way long before these rules came in. So if there are no spaces etc. available, they have given them a choice of giving it to the panchayat and at a nominal price. But now the entire ball lies in the court of panchayat and panchayat secretaries to take call, and they have to be held responsible as far as my opinion. This you mentioned one about shacks and other hotels, etc. See, when we say decentralization, we are not looking at just decentralization at panchayat level. Decentralization should start even at home. So we have a group where there, you would believe there are more than 5,000 home composters in Goa. People who compose their wet waste at home, they set up a biogas plant at home. Especially in villages and even in semi-urban areas. Now there are systems which you can implement at household. People are not aware. So when you say education, more education should be now focused on what these problematic areas can do. So biogas, government is providing substantial subsidies for setting up a biogas plants. So these shacks, these resorts can look at it as a alternative for decentralization means wealth is waste kind of paradigm shift has to be lifted, because there is nothing waste. The food is energy. If biogas can be converted centrally at Kakoda, why can't be converted in a small biogas plant at home?
And this is the whole concept
right? So these shacks etc. need to be encouraged by.
The new rules actually have got guidelines for coastal areas and hilly areas. Separate guidelines are there. Now our only this thing is that, as I mentioned earlier, now there are 19 departments and this thing which are supposed to coordinate to implement this thing, and as per the chart that has been given in these rules, entire Goa would come in the 3-year bracket, 36 months. So now we are already 6 months through since this thing has the local bodies had to file returns quarterly. One quarter is over. Second quarter will be somewhere in October. So whether even one municipality or local body has filed these returns, giving details about, I doubt. So, and whether these rules will be fully implemented by the expiry of 36 months is a big challenge for us to see.
Two last sections I'd like to do. One is, of course, the responsibility of elected representatives. At the end of the day, how many MLAs in Goa see this as a primary responsibility or a critical responsibility? Do they actually work closely with panchayats or even with municipal bodies to bring about a solution? Are they part of the whole planning process with regard to waste management? This is a very critical area that we need to address, because the Supreme Court might lay down a lot of rules and regulations, and I'm sure they are very, very important. But do you really feel that MLAs, and Savio, I'll start with you because you are the politician, to look beyond their immediate vote banks and their caste-based vote banks and other vote banks and look into this as a serious issue?
MLAs are now getting 1 crore per year, I think, for as MLA-led scheme. Yes. So, but here also we see that they undertake the work of construction of roads and gutters only. At least I would appeal through your channel that our MLAs should dedicate these funds towards proper waste management within their panchayats or municipal areas, and by supporting the local bodies, giving them whatever is required through that fund. If they really intend to make their area clean, because it's a huge amount, it's not a small amount, crores of rupees.
Do they not do it because they feel that any strict action would also involve action against the people, and hence they decide not to press home this issue?
No. See, there in cities or panchayats where there is door-to-door waste collection, where is the question of sort of taking action, unless your system is not working properly. Right. You put an effective system in place where the waste is collected without fail from every household every day, and everything will fall in place. Some sort of thing has to be done, and plus whatever bare essentials which are required can be supported through the MLA-led funds, I feel.
Okay. Words, then we'll wrap up.
I have interacted with very few interactions with the political class, but I guess about out of 40, maybe 2 or 3 MLAs are really seeing this as a key concern.
Out of 40, there are only 2 or 3 MLAs.
That's my bandwidth, because I don't come across MLAs from North Goa. Right. So I come across from MLAs from
so
South
2 or 3
Goa.
out of 20.
Yeah. So but mostly looking at waste management. What I mean to say is basically it is not a long-term perspective they are looking at. Right. It is just some sort of thing that has to be managed for time gap. That's my analysis here.
Okay, we'll really come to the end of this. Savio, do you have any last words to say? Otherwise, I'll wrap up.
We only hope that the new rules that have come, because we see a set of rules set up at one point of time. Before those are even implemented, we see a new set of rules coming. Now the latest are this 27 January 2026 MOAF rules. Right. And we only hope that all the local bodies and all the departments, that whoever are in responsible to implement this, take this seriously and not have just meetings and give directions which nobody implements. We hope that they are implemented in proper spirit within the next 3 years.
In conclusion, all I will say here is that we've had a very good, proper, intense discussion, and there are some important takeaways from this discussion. Firstly, the NIMBY principle, not in my backyard principle, has to end. Waste management is a local, decentralized subject. It has to be done locally. The war has to be fought locally. Secondly, important stakeholders who are handling waste management, treating, collecting and dealing with the people need to be brought in as stakeholders and a part of the entire information gathering and planning process, which is completely lacking. Thirdly, the responsibility must also fall with local representatives, elected representatives, who need to spend their money that is allocated to them not just on road projects. We obviously know why road projects are given, because they are quote unquote more lucrative. And most importantly, and we can't underline this enough, while everybody is aware of the garbage problem, quote unquote, the problem is not lack of awareness but lack of responsibility. And that completely also exists with the people of Goa. Because if Goa is getting destroyed garbage bag by garbage bag on every given day, the Goan who's dumping that garbage is actually committing an act which is a criminal offense against the future of Goa and the well-being of Goa. And if this has to be stopped by very fierce deterrence, so be it, because we are sitting on a time bomb which has already exploded or going to explode any moment. I thank Mr. Savio Coutinho and Samrit Desai for their inputs, their wisdom, and most importantly their commitment to at least dirtying their hands in trying to make Goa clean. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sujay.